In this video, I'm going to show you how to do our kitchen electrical drawing. So this will be what our kitchen electrical drawing will look like when we are finished. This is an actual construction line that will probably need to be deleted. We're going to have some can lights. We're going to have 9 can lights in our kitchen. We'll have 2 regular receptacles on the wall. We'll have some receptacles around the cabinets. I don't have the cabinets in here. I don't have the range in here, but the range will be in there. And I do have a window and stuff for you to do, and we got a door, we got French doors. This stuff should be in your blocks that we have already made. So what we need to do first is like we did with our bedroom drawing. We're going to open our bedroom drawing, and then we're going to do a file save as. And we're going to save that as our kitchen electrical drawing. So that way we'll have all of our blocks, all of our layers will be there already, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We will just save this as the kitchen drawing, and then whenever you get that saved, then we'll delete all the stuff for the bedroom, and then we'll have our model over here where we delete all of our bedroom stuff, and then we'll add our kitchen stuff. So I'm not going to show you how to do all of these in detail. I think we've done enough of this that you can understand. So I've given you the dimensions, and I'm going to zoom in, and you can look at these. So our overall dimension of our kitchen is going to be 22, 3 3/8 from this wall to this wall. And again, I want you to make it this dimension so it will fit into our final house plans. So if you don't make it this dimension, you may have to redraw some of these whenever we go to do our final. If you do this with the same dimensions, then it should line up with our final, and you shouldn't have to do too much modifications for that. So I want you to have 13 feet 9 and 5/16 inches from the outside wall to our French door. And again, there is a block for our French door in there, so you can insert that French door block. And that will put it in there. You may have to orient it to get it in the right rotation, but this is the dimensions of the door, and the door should already be made for you correctly. Then you just have to come over 13 feet 9 and 15/16, and that will be where your door goes. And I'm going to have a receptacle here. This is a receptacle for the refrigerator, and it will be by itself. This is a receptacle for the range. Notice this is a 240 volt receptacle, so you have to have an extra wire. This will be like a 10-3 wire with ground. And then we have the GFCs. These will be the GFCs on the counter. So you have a GFCI here, and then this receptacle here will be protected by this GFCI. We have the home run going to this GFCI, and then you have the dimensions from the exterior walls of where to put those receptacles. And then the outside wall again is going to be 6 inches thick. And then this inside wall here is only going to be 4 inches thick. So you'll have your receptacles here on this wall. You'll need to add a home run to this. I did not add a home run because the house plan, it doesn't have a home run just for these 2, but I want you to add a home run for these 2. And then we're going to have over here, we're going to have a switch receptacle. This will be for the garbage disposal under the sink. So we're going to have a wire to our switch here that tells us that this is a switch receptacle that will be for the garbage disposal. We'll have a home run going to that and then going to the switch. And again, these will be our other circuits for our kitchen. We have to have 2 circuits for our kitchen. This will be another GFCI, and this receptacle will be protected by this one. And then here, again, here are the dimensions for that. And then here is the dimension for the window. We're going to put a 36-inch window in here. I do not have a 36-inch window in our block, so we're going to have to make one. Over here on the side, I give you the dimensions of our 36-inch window, and it's 3 feet. Then we're going to come in 1 inch and 9/16. That will be like where our 2 sashes go. And we're going to put a line in the center of this, just across. So it's fairly easy to draw, but I do want to make sure that you draw this in your window layer. My window layer is a different color, but you can use the color for your window layer to draw our windows. So go ahead and put the receptacles in there. Okay, before we do our lighting circuit, there is one more thing that we need to work on here. Is our door. This is an exterior door. Some houses may have a garage here. We don't have a garage. This would be another exterior door. It is a 36-inch door. So you'll have to make the rough openings for a 36-inch door. And again, I do not have a block exactly for a 36-inch drawer, but I have a front door block. It is a 36-inch door. The front door has side lights in it. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to explode this door, and then we can do the individual pieces. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. So we're going to delete all of this stuff here, and then this will just be our 36-inch door. If you would like to make this a 36-inch door as a block, you can, because we may use them in the future. But this will just be our 36-inch door. And you notice it is not oriented correctly. This would be a right-hand swing, and we need a left-hand swing. So we can make this easily just by, first we're going to rotate it. So we're going to click on it and rotate it, and we're going to rotate it just 90 degrees here. Again, this is the door that we're looking for, and this is swinging in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to click and move this down here so we can see it a little better. So it needs to be the opposite swing. I'm going to delete this dimension just so we know how to do it. So to do that, all we're going to do is do a mirror image. So we're going to click mirror image of our door, and then in any particular spot, and then we're just going to rotate it 90 degrees. And in this case, we are going to erase the source. So now we have a left-hand swing 36-inch door. And then you can just copy that and put that into your drawing. So I would draw the walls here and then leave it at this dimension, and then add our 36-inch door to this wall. So that you may have to make the block for the window. You have to just redo the front door to get it to make a 36-inch door. This door should already be in there for you. We should already have our blocks for our receptacles. You will have to draw the wires for each one, and then add your conductor size. You have to rotate them accordingly. So this is the tedious part, where you have to add these in there and then rotate them. And again, this one has to be a 3-conductor wire. So to do the lights, when we should have, these are can lights, these are LED can lights. So I have the dimensions of the pattern. What I would suggest is drawing the can lights out here kind of in space, and then I want you to make sure that we space them correctly. So this is 5, 4, and 5/16. We could make that, and again, I want to keep that dimension close to that so that it will fit in our house drawing. And these all are the same. So every light here has this same spacing in this direction. And then we have 5 feet, 5 inches, and 15/16 in this direction. So what I may suggest is drawing some lines this dimension, drawing more and more line this way, then make our circles at the end of the line, and then just copy that make these 3 circles first, and then copy them here, all 3 of them, this right spacing apart, and then copy them again here, this same space apart. So we'll have our can lights oriented the same all the way around. These lines here, these construction lines, are where they're going to be located in the room. So this is going to be 9 feet, 11 inches, and 5/16 from the corner of our wall here to where the center of this first light goes. And then it's going to come over from the wall 5 feet, 4, and 15/16. So you'll draw these construction lines. Once you get this completed, we'll draw these construction lines on our inside wall, and then we'll move this our grid to the end, go from the center of this light to the end point of our construction line, and that will be how we orient our can lights in our room. We want them fairly centered. And as you notice, our can lights will have a 3-way switch. So we'll have a switch at this door, and we're going to have a switch coming in at this door. So either one of those switches will operate our light. Okay, once we have our lights drawn and put them in the room correctly in their correct spacing, then we have to do our wiring for our lights. Again, we'll have to do our arcs. So we'll draw, and we're going to start with the home run here, because our panel is going to be in the utility room over here. So we're going to start with our home run going to our switch. Then we'll have our hot leg, and we have a 3-conductor going from switch to switch. And then from this switch, we'll just go to each individual light. And then I'm just start here going in a pattern. It doesn't really matter how you get there, but each light has to have a wire attached to it. So we'll do our switch light, and you notice this light has to be a switch 3 to indicate that we are doing a 3-way switch. So you should have all your dimensions in here. I'm going to zoom in to these so that you can see them, and you can reference this video. You can pause it whenever you go to add these receptacles in there. Make sure that you have this is protected. Make sure this is switched. Again, I have the dimensions for where the 36-inch window goes. It should be over the sink. And then there is a range hood that has, and this should have a home run attached to it as well. So I have a home run just directly going to our range hood, and that would be the symbol for this. So once you get this drawn complete, and in your final drawing, we do not need any dimensions. So we can turn the dimension layer off. And we'll do it the same way we did our bedroom drawings and some of our other drawings here. We will put this in our layout. So again, if you copy this from our bedroom, this layout should be already there for us, and then allow us to just move this in there. You should not need these construction lines. I'm going to go ahead and delete them just so that you can see what the final one should look like. Now I do want to do something a little different. I want to put our notes in here, and I'm going to say that all wires are 12-3 unless otherwise specified, and then our range hood is going to be our range will be a 6-3 with ground, and then a range hood with light. That's what this symbol would be. So you'd have the symbol for that there. You'd have the symbol for this receptacle. This is a range receptacle. That would go there. And then these single receptacles and all of your legends here. And this should be pretty close to the same as what we've had before. There may be a few that you have to add, like the can lights. We're not going to do the exhaust fan. That's for the bathroom. And then the range hood light would be there. Again, we're going to do the same thing. This would be revision 3, since our bedroom was revision 2. And then this will be our date. And so normally whenever we do a different revision, we leave the name the same. But I just want you to know that. But I want us to change the name as a kitchen electrical drawing. But just be aware that if we were doing this on an actual print, the name would be the same throughout the print, and then we just change the revision. I want you to change the name of the title because this is just the kitchen drawings. And I want you to make sure that all of our wires are in the correct layers. We have a layer for lighting, so make sure your lighting is in the correct layer. The doors should be in the correct layer, and the windows should be in the correct layer. And then our text should be in the text layer as well. But we do have something a little different here, and this is what I want to really focus on in this part of this exercise, is our bill of materials. So this is a BMO. So the bill of materials is a list of all the items we're going to use for this particular drawing. And I want you to do a bill of material, and I want you to do this in an Excel file. So I have the Excel file already made for us down here, and this is the house bill of material. So I have like 14 lines down here for our bill of materials. You do not need that many for this particular exercise, but whenever we do the whole house, you may need all of them in there. So just go ahead and add all of those lines. So we're going to have a line number. So at the top, and I'll show you how to do this. So this, you just go from A to E, and I'm just going to show you a few here. Just select a few, and then we're going to do merge and center, and then you can just type BOM in that, and it will center that in our bill of material. And you can make this whatever font size you would like, and you can make it bold if you would like. It's the way I did, and you will have to make the. Okay, so I'm going to leave this kind of up to you what size you want to make these, but the description needs to be a little bigger. So the description would be like a duplex receptacle, or a range receptacle, or a can light, or whatever the component actual name is. And then I want you to put a quantity of how many of that particular item we are using. And then I want you to look up the cost of that particular item. So I want to kind of give just a general idea of how much it costs to do that. And I would also like for you to put the wire on here as well. And just give an estimate of the wire. Let's say it's about 30 feet from the longest spot to the panel. So figure out how much of like 12-2 wire with ground that you would need, and then you are going to need some 6-3 for our range, and then just put the so the unit cost would be per foot, and then this would be how many feet of wire you estimate that we need, and then this would be the total. So if you notice here, I have the formulas already made for you, and or not, you will have to make these formulas. Mine, I've already have them made. So I'm going to take the value that is in C3, and I'm going to multiply it by the value that is in D3, and then this will be where that answer goes. So this, and in this box, you're going to have to put equals C3 times D3, and that will put your answer in here. So if I need 4 receptacles, and the receptacle costs $2.50, then that will give me the total of how many receptacles cost. And then at the and you do that for each item that you have. So each one of these should have the formula for calculating the quantity plus the unit cost, and that will be your total. And then at the very bottom, we're going to have our sum. So this will be like our grand total that we add up. So we're going to add all this column up, and that will be the total cost of our kitchen kitchen drawing. So what I want you to do, after you get this bill of material made and make it into a block and do that, you'll have to highlight what you want to do, and then you're going to do format cell. You're going to format the cell, and you're going to put the borders in it. So I want to border around the whole thing, and I want to border around each individual box so that we can tell that it is a table. So once you have it formatted correctly, I want you to highlight it, and then we're going to do a Control-C, just like we've done in the past. So we're going to copy this, and then we're going to go back to our AutoCAD. We're going to go back to our kitchen drawing, and I'm going to delete this just to show you. And then I'm going to do a Control-V, and then that will be our bill of materials that we just made. And I'm just going to put it in there somewhere where you want it. And this is going to ask you if you want to change the font or the size of the font. What we have here should be close enough for what we need. So we're just going to click OK, and that's going to put that in there. And we can adjust this a little bit. We can make it bigger or smaller. Again, for this, it's not too bad, but whenever we do the house, we may have to make it a little smaller. So what I want to, the nice thing about this is if you click on one of these boxes, if you double click, it will open up our Excel, and then we can add like 4 more or whatever, and put a price in there, and it will update our BOM, and then it will also update it here into our drawing. So it added the 4 that we just added in there. So you can get this bill of material. If you have this minimized, then you can just go back in here and change our worksheet, and then it will show the values in there, and then that will automatically put it into our CAD drawing. So you take the Excel file and do your thing, and once it's in here, it's exported, it's linked together, and it'll automatically put them in there. So that is how we're going to do our kitchen. I'm going to let you do most of it yourself. I want you to update the test box block here with the different revision and a revision date, and then save it as our kitchen electrical drawing and submit it into Blackboard.